Well, hi everybody. Thanks for tuning in to our first. Oh my God, look at the color. So we have, I just want to thank Sean Hanrahan for joining us today. Just the camera a little bit. There we go. And I hope everybody has a drink with them. So cheers.
Cheers.
What are we drinking right now, Sean?
We are drinking
Was that Evil Twin?
Evil Twin Fructus Danica 14. Sour ale, raspberry, blackberry, strawberry.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is
Pretty good series. They make pretty good sour.
that is like a Jamba Juice.
Yeah, that's a smoothie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like pour this on ice.
Right.
I don't
Blend it
know.
up
Would
a
you
little
say there's enough? Is there too much carbonation in here to throw it on a blender?
No.
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 That would be good.
No.
So.
Yeah.
So welcome again. And so today we're just gonna shoot the shit and talk about beer and maybe a little bit about candles and well, really, and talk about you and why I brought you on the show and for being my first guest on the show. So I have Sean here today because he is a big craft beer drinker, and by big I mean a lot. He has tried a lot of different things. According to Untapped, you have tried 8,133 now?
Yeah.
33 beers. Do you think you've actually tried more than that?
Yes.
Okay.
100%.
Oh my God. Do you think it's like more like 9,000? Like
No,
you've missed that many?
No.
But
well,
maybe a couple
started
hundred more?
a few years into me doing this.
Yeah.
And I don't always check in like beer
Right.
fests or
Sure.
and so forth. So
Yeah.
it could be a little more, but yeah.
Yeah. That's a
roughly around
lot.
there. Yeah.
That's a lot. That's pretty awesome though.
Yeah, I guess.
It's not a lot and a bad thing because you are a member of some bottle sharing groups.
Yeah,
right?
I always try to, that's the best part of drinking beer is you sharing them with friends.
Absolutely. And so when you do your bottle shares, you're obviously not drinking the whole bottle.
No, never.
You're all doing
Yeah.
a little tasting. And
Even when I'm home, I'm usually splitting the beer.
when you're going to Beer Fest, you're
Right.
not drinking a whole glass. You're just
Exactly.
doing a little taste. Now, I do, I write, I keep a note when I go to fests.
I used to do that.
Until I get too drunk.
Erase
And
my
then,
note, and then there goes that. So I stopped doing that.
yeah.
I just stopped taking it so seriously too.
Right.
I mean,
Well, I'm trying to catch up to you. It's just going
Yeah,
to take
good
me a
luck.
really long time.
There's people way ahead of me too.
Yeah, well, I have like 600, which I'm pretty proud of, considering I've been pregnant twice in the last 4 years. So,
Fair. I don't want them working against me. No.
So you are a part of one or two bottle sharing groups right now?
Just one that regularly meets.
Okay. Before COVID, you were in another?
No.
Oh, okay.
I have a few groups of friends that I hang out.
You get
drink
together
beers
and you
with,
just go ahead and
not
casually do
a
it.
regularly thing.
Right.
Sometimes we'll hang out on the weekend.
And how long have you been a member of this particular group?
6 or 7 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how many people would you say were in it when you started versus now?
Well, there was some fluctuations going on.
Let's pretend COVID doesn't exist.
No,
prior
this is
to
way before
not
COVID. It's way
Okay.
before COVID. I mean, way before COVID was everything. So yeah, it was about 6 or 7 years now since I've joined that one. Regularly started going to it. When I first started, it was right around where we're at now. We have like 10, 12 regular people that
That's
show
a
up
nice
regularly.
group.
Right. Sometimes less, sometimes more.
Sure.
Life. But a few years into it, it got up to about 20, 25
Yeah, that's
people.
a lot.
And then it just got to be too much, and there was like it was chaotic, and there was not enough space, and the
Right.
beers weren't lasting, and so
Because you can't get around to everybody. with
right.
that.
So that we kind of like pumped the brakes a little bit, stopped advertising it really anywhere, and now
Right.
it's kind of settled down to
Made it more
our core
exclusive.
group. Not
Yeah.
necessarily exclusive, but like our core group. We're not looking for random.
You're not looking for members.
So
to
if people
join.
show up, we're not saying no.
Right.
Please come have beers with us, but
Right.
yeah,
But not all the time.
not all the time. Well, yeah, right. Well, we've got people
On special
join in the
occasion.
past year, so they became kind of regulars.
Yeah.
But it's just we're not advertising on.
And what's
Facebook
the age range in your group?
From younger than me to I don't know, 60s.
The 20s.
Yeah, 20s
to
I would say
60s.
like mid-20s to
Yeah.
60s.
Wow.
You know, yeah.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
all
great.
walks of life, all different kinds of people.
That's what.
Right.
That's why beer is awesome, because it's for everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're right. Well, most people like it. Not
Right.
everyone.
Not
but
everyone.
like
Most
it.
people. And there's so many different kinds of beers. I was talking to my assistant today, and I was telling her how we were scenting a batch. We're doing 70 candles this week. This is my biggest batch I've ever done.
Cool.
I cut some glass last week, so we have that incorporated.
Nice.
And they all so nice. I was so happy. My husband was downstairs.
But you have problems with the glasses every time.
Sometimes, yeah, it's not 100% accurate, and sometimes I'm able to fix the errors, but it takes a lot of time to sand those errors out. And I was upstairs just breaking the glass, and I finished them all, and they're all on the counter, and I said, "F yeah, I made that glass my bee," and I was like, and he came upstairs, he was like, "What?" I said, "This is the best I've ever cut glass. I don't know if it was me or if it was the bottles. I don't know, but they all came out so nice." And the reason why I was so happy about it is because I knew I wouldn't have to invest all this time sanding them down, which is so exhausting and so tedious. And I'm surprised I don't have carpal tunnel at this point from the pressure that I have to put on the Dremel.
Right. Oh, maybe you answered your technique.
Yeah, I mean, that's the goal. I mean, I'm trying to make it better and better every time. You know, I've tried different waxes. I'm introducing a new type of a wick to make it less smoky. You know, I always try to educate people when they buy my candles and let them know how to get the best and longest and most smell and nice burn out of the candle. And, you know, some people don't realize it's a science.
Yeah.
So, but this is wild. I so
Have you had anything from these before?
I've had Evil Twin, but not from this series. I don't think.
Yeah, they tend to be a little sweet. They're very low in alcohol.
I like
it's
sours.
Questionable on if there's even alcohol in that.
Right. I feel like I'm just drinking juice.
This one's about 6.5%. So that's actually not.
Oh, that's good.
But,
I usually know. I will even pass over a sour if it's less than 5%, or if it's less than 6%. I just won't even waste my time.
Okay. I disagree with that one, but okay.
It's okay. That's just me.
Yeah, right. Because a lot of those traditional like Belgian lambics and those natural sours are lower
well,
in alcohol.
I think if I was sharing with someone, it would be different.
Right.
But to drink the whole thing by myself, I feel like I was drinking a can of sugar.
Yeah. I get that. Yeah.
I'm the kind of girl who.
We're also specifically talking kettle sours at this point.
Right.
So there's the naturally fermented sours. They're not full of sugars. It's
right.
Like
that's true.
A naturally occurring bacteria that causes that.
Yeah.
But
it's hard to know which is what when you're more familiar with that process than I am.
That's true.
It's hard to know just by looking at the can and reading what's on the can. Sometimes they don't say.
Right.
So they don't say the sugar content
and
the calorie.
Kettle sours. So
okay. That's pretty safe for the most part.
Right.
If anybody has any questions as we're chatting, we will peek over and take a look at our chat. If you want to say hi, let us know you're here. We see 4 people are watching. We'd love to know who you are. So feel free to chat and chime in and say hello and tell us what you're drinking. For sure. So let's talk about when you had your first craft beer. How old were you? Can you remember?
I'm probably going to assume sometime in college. So, Olivia.
Hey-oh.
I assume sometime in college, probably, I don't even know.
20s? After
21st, 21.
The legal.
I wasn't drinking, I was drinking vodka before that. And some shit beer. But,
do you remember what it was? Do you remember the brewery it was?
I'm going to assume it was probably like a Sierra Nevada Pale Ale.
Yeah.
I remember the first one that like really got me into it, and I remember thinking like, okay, this is different. I haven't had a beer like this. Sam Adams cherry wheat, as embarrassing as that is. But yeah, I remember getting.
It's so interesting to me. I don't really think of those brands as craft beer.
So you have to realize
But they're
12.
the beginning.
I mean, this was 2008. So.
Right, we're talking 20 plus years ago, right?
No, not that far,
sorry,
not that
10
far.
plus years ago.
Yeah, 10, 15 years
Yeah.
ago. The world of craft beer in New Jersey
Was much different.
was much different than what it looks like today.
Right, I think everywhere in the United States.
Some places were New Jersey was really slow. So
right.
California was kind of doing their thing. Colorado was kind of doing their thing.
Yeah.
A few other places here, Sam Adams was doing it for a long time. Dogfish Head's been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
But it was a very, very different landscape of when you look in the liquor store now and you're getting stuff from. When
would you say you really started getting into being passionate about craft beer?
I'll say right around when I graduated college, so probably 2008-ish.
Did you start frequenting and looking for breweries?
Yeah, so no, first I started with going to the liquor store, seeing what cool beer I could pick up, and I would do
stuff
that.
you never heard of.
Right, it was very fun at the time. I didn't really know what I was looking for, so I was trying everything.
Right, because you hadn't developed your palate.
Right, and I still kind of try, as much as I can try as much new stuff or different stuff as I can today. Mm-hmm. But just going basically a lot of it bought by the marketing, what the label looks like.
Yeah.
I've realized that's not the best way to buy beer these days.
Yeah. I love the memes that are out there that say just because the can looks cool doesn't mean the beer is great.
Well, yeah, it's very true. But it's also sometimes the can's very plain and the beer is amazing.
That is true. That is also true.
Never
judge a book by its cover.
Right, but so there was that, and I remember I think the first brewery I went to was River Horse. It was in Lambertville at the time. It's now in Ewing, but the old building was in Lambertville.
PA? Is that PA?
Nope.
Okay.
No. Yeah, Lambertville's New Jersey side, New Hope's PA side.
Oh, okay.
So there's a bridge.
But they're right there. Okay.
There's a bridge across both of them. But
I'm not from originally New Jersey, so some places that I've never been there, I have no idea.
Lambertville's where Kim's getting married.
Yes. Okay. See, I knew I recognized the name because we are going to New Hope, and when I was looking on the map for places to stay, I remember seeing it. So I think that's what I thought.
So the original River Horse was in Lambertville, in a small building there. It was really cool. Got to visit, and it wasn't like tap rooms today. You paid $1, you got 4 samples. They couldn't even pour their own beer yet, and full pours or anything. You couldn't hang out and have drinks.
Yeah,
it was more just. Take a sample.
She's trying to get in. You mind just cracking that for her?
Yeah, sure.
Thanks.
What?
Animal interruption, folks. Here she comes.
Hey, Zoe. Hi, Zoe.
So where they're located now, and do you know when they moved?
I don't remember. Years ago.
Okay.
They were actually the first beer event I went to. I remember I was actually in a New York Times article for it, actually, interview. But they
did you save it?
What?
That article, yeah.
It's online somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think it's printed or anything, but it's an online article. Yeah. But my pictures and they interviewed us. But it was the first event that breweries were allowed to pour their own beer, and have legally have paying customers come in. Yeah. Sit down, have a few pints, not have to just sample anything and buy to go. Yeah. So I don't remember when that was. Many years ago. Yeah. I'd say. So what was the town they're located in now? Ewing. Okay, we all know about that. I know. We don't all want. I know. Right here. So. Yep. And
awesome.
That's that.
Awesome. Yeah. How many breweries do you think you've been to? Throw a number out there. More than 100. Yes. More than 200.
Possibly.
That's good.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So did you, when you started getting this passion after you went through the liquor store phase, discovering the different kinds and the different types out there and the different places out there, when did you decide you wanted to, because you visit quite a bit of breweries, right? And you drive sometimes quite far to go check out a brewery. There's nothing wrong with that. You have the time, go for it, for sure. When did you decide to, when do you think you started frequenting breweries more than you did, let's say, the liquor store? Because I think you do. I think you frequent breweries.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I'd say it's probably, I don't know, 8 years ago, maybe. 9 years ago. Good. Yeah, I mean, I was going fairly well, not as much as I wasn't doing it like every weekend like I turned into, but I'm not doing, I'm kind of, it's funny, you go through this phase where like you get really into it and you're excited and you're like, and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna go.
Because it's all new and fun.
Right, and I'm gonna stick to my local one. I'm gonna go to all the time, and then it's like, then you
get bored.
And then you're like, okay, well, I can just drink on my couch now and just get to go. And, so COVID also didn't help.
Sure.
So it did help, I guess.
Well,
but do you want a little bit more? There's a little bit less in here.
I'm good.
All right, cool.
Yeah. Awesome. I have some more questions here.
Okay.
So just about like you and me, Sean and I have known each other for 10 years, and I met Sean through an old roommate of mine, and we became fast friends, and now we're really just fell out of friendship with that roommate. Just life took us in different directions, but we stayed together, which I love because you're fantastic. And Sean introduced me to my husband, so he can take that credit to the grave.
Yes, I can.
You've worked for a brewery, right?
I have worked for a few.
Yeah. Oh, a few.
Two.
Oh,
okay.
I
worked for River Horse for 2 months.
Oh, when they were in Ewing?
Yep.
Oh, awesome.
And then I worked for Kane for 5 years.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you think you'll go back to working for a brewery? Or you're not against it?
No, I'm definitely not against it. I've been kind of toying with the idea back and forth. It's kind of a new thing for me, not having a second
right,
job,
and having your weekends free.
It's been nice to have my weekends.
And because you're married now.
Correct.
So,
yes,
I'm sure it's nice for your wife, too, to have you on the weekends.
I think it's funny that I think she
getting annoyed at you?
To an extent, liked the alone time sometimes.
Yeah.
She had her time to do her thing.
But
and now that I'm home, and not that I'm stopping her from doing that, not anything, but like, now that I'm home, I feel like, we need to hang out and be together all the time.
Or to find something to do.
No. We have no problem finding something to do. We're actually very busy. It's
really
annoying.
Busy.
Yeah, it's very annoying actually sometimes. But
the problem before though was you were getting invited to things I think you wanted to do.
Absolutely.
And you couldn't because you had this job.
Or I'd have to show up late, or I'd have to, whatever it was. Yes, that's true. That was but I kind of got used to it. I mean, for 5 years.
Right.
It's just kind of how my life was. I knew Fridays and Saturdays were kind of off the board unless you wanted to hang out later.
And people that knew you knew that.
Yeah, right. And we made it work. And I still feel like I made myself pretty available. And
I think you did.
I'm pretty good at that.
I mean, you are very active, just like keep it going kind of a person. And then Saturday and Sunday mornings, just lay in bed all day, right?
I mean, ideally,
in the morning, right?
Yeah, to an extent. Yeah, we pretty much nailed that. But
no problem. I mein, listen, I have 2 kids. That's just not an option for me anymore. Right. So I'll live vicariously through you. Let's see what else. Do you have any interest in home brewing now or in the future?
So I used to homebrew.
Right, when you were in Freehold? No.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when I was in Freehold, that was primarily when I did it. Because then I moved to Asbury and I really didn't have the space really to do it, and I kind of fell out of practice anyway. But I homebrewed, I would say, pretty early on in me getting into beer, for about 3 to 4 years.
Were you like continually for 3 to 4 years, or like on and off in those 3 years?
I mean, I didn't have a beer brewing at all times, like fermenting at all times, but I did fairly readily and fairly steadily. I'd do a few batches a year. Like it wasn't. I can't even read that. So many plants. Yeah. So it's very time consuming. I don't know if you've ever done it.
We don't have the space either.
So, you have more space than I did, so you definitely have the space. It's just whether you have the time is another thing.
That is another thing. Yeah.
You just need a stovetop.
That's
really all you need.
Yeah.
And then, but from there, it just got. Sometimes you put all this work into it, and day long brew, and it doesn't come out the way you want it to be.
Yeah.
Some people take that and be like, okay, what did I do wrong? What did I do this?
Right.
I took it as okay, like. What I was making wasn't undrinkable. Like I enjoyed it. Like it was fine. The first batch I made is actually I think my favorite batch. It was like a milk stout. It came out great, but I mean as great as it can you can do in a plastic bucket.
Oh,
That
you're
way,
using
yeah,
the bucket?
yeah, it
Because
wasn't.
I have friends that would do it in Colorado, and they would use those like 5-gallon
Carboys?
Yeah, like the water jugs.
The glass jugs?
Glass.
They could be plastic
Plastic,
too.
I think
Yeah,
they have the
usually
plastic
you want
ones.
to use glass, I think.
Yeah.
But I wasn't that advanced.
Yeah.
And I've met with homebrewers these days.
So start with the bucket is what you're saying.
The bucket, there's nothing wrong with the bucket.
No,
the
no.
only problem with the bucket is you can't control the temperature on it.
Right.
There's a lot of variables that you don't have control over.
Yeah.
Which causes weird off flavors in your beer, causes things to not necessarily be how you want them to be. And it's really hard to replicate that consistently.
Do you think you would, when you buy a house, do you think that's something you probably will start doing again? Okay.
I don't think so. I think I sold all my equipment off. I think that ship has failed. Yeah, even if I would said even if I was gonna ever go into the process of trying to open a brewery or work for a brewery, it would be more on the back end of operationals,
right?
Not necessarily brewing, not necessarily making the recipes. I leave people who are just better equipped to do that. I think there's some brilliant brewers out there. They're doing things that I would just never was able. I'm sure if I kept practicing, it would work out. But yeah.
Oh, so Olivia has a question. She's asking both of us, what is both of our favorite candle scents?
Oh.
So I have quite a few. They don't have to be what I have on my scent choices. I have quite a few, and you can mix and match, but it could be something that I don't have. You go first, or do you want me to go first? Because you look a little taken aback by the question.
No.
Oh,
No,
I'm
a vanilla sucker.
Yeah?
Yeah. Vanilla anything.
That's awesome. Yeah, before I started the business, I put a survey out kind of to friends and family to ask them what their favorite scents were.
Yeah.
So that I could get an idea of what people really like.
Right.
And vanilla was a big one. And so I got it and I made quite a few of them and they just didn't sell.
Okay.
So I was like, well, this is a lie.
Yeah. No, I'm about anything that's like a dessert. Or,
I do tend to mix the vanilla a lot.
Yeah.
So I think that draws people in the fact that it has the vanilla in it.
You actually made me one. It was like a whiskey vanilla. It smelled really great.
Thank you.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Libby has a cool candle at home. She got it's like a chocolate ice cream bar. It smells crazy. It's wild, actually.
Is it one of mine?
No, she
bought
that. So it's supposed to be like a chocolate ice cream bar.
It's supposed to smell like that.
And it smells straight.
Oh my gosh, that's so wild.
I
get a lot of cans that mirror the orange soda or creamsicle style.
Yep.
And so that one is a very popular one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I love orange. Vanilla is
it's kind of funny
popular.
how you send candles and that they adjunct beers these days. So
I try to.
You can mix it. They do so many crazy things with beers, but they put so many different flavors in beers.
Yeah.
That you can probably have a lot of fun with the way they smell too.
Yeah, I did one 2 weeks ago that I think is the most I've ever mixed was 4 different scents because there were so many flavors.
That work, though?
It did.
Did it smell
did
like
work.
all of it? Is it
Yeah, absolutely. Right. I mean, it's but that's what was in the beer, right? So I do try to match.
Okay.
Most of the time. Sometimes I try to go another direction because a lot of beers use the same type of ingredients. A lot of beers.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So the same flavor profile. So I don't want to saturate my scent choices, but I do 50% of my stuff. I do try to match the flavor profile. But I think this one had vanilla and orange and strawberry and coconut.
Okay.
And I was like, wow, I mean, they sounded great together. I didn't drink the beer, but I got the can.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'd probably die if I drank all the cans that I have.
Yeah. Someone's got to drink them.
So I think it's hard for me as the candle maker to pick a favorite scent. I would say on both ends of the spectrum, more of a masculine scent that I like that I carry as it's called Fireside, and it doesn't really smell like a campfire. It's a mix of a campfire and just fall.
Right. That sounds good.
Yeah, and cologne a little bit, but not too overpowering. It's just very subtle. And then the other one I like is, which is also one of our most popular, is the cactus flower and jade.
Right.
It's like light floral.
I'm confused. What does jade smell like? The jade's a rock, is it not?
It's a stone.
Right.
So I don't know. I'll see if I can get just jade on its own.
No, I'm just curious. Yeah,
I don't know, but whatever this is, it smells great. I mean, I think I have my flavor profile because now I want to know, and I have my breakdowns.
I feel like also
here.
your flavor or your scents are probably going to be seasonal too.
They do, on my Instagram, I have different like seasonal scents selected for each season. Cactus flower and jade, so it's agave and aloe, chrysanthemum, green floral, green leaves, and patchouli.
Okay.
Now, a green leaf, I guess you know what that smells like. Aloe, we know what it smells like. Agave, chrysanthemum, I've heard the word. I don't know what that smells like. But whatever cactus flower and jade is, it smells amazing. So that would be my favorite. What else we got? So good. Ice cream sandwich. So awesome. So let's do another.
Sure, your pick this time.
Yeah. Let's see here. Got my beer keg. Giant chair. So many problems. This is not meant to put a stool behind. That's fine. We're making it work.
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna go away from the sweets.
Uh-huh.
So here we have Vault Brewing.
If you've never been there, the food's also incredible. Beer's good too.
So I found this at the wine outlet in Wall. First time in there. Overwhelming for sure. Just it's huge.
Yeah.
But they don't carry my favorite wine. So not really that much of an outlet. So this is a New England IPA. Double dry hop with Strata, Sultana, and Mosaic. I love when they put, I don't know what the heck Mosaic is, but whatever it is, I love anything that has Mosaic in it. It's usually.
So each time, once you start drinking these,
and I love the cloudy beers.
Yeah.
Is that the Mosaic? Is that what's happening?
No.
This color, when a beer has this color, I like 99% of the time like it.
Yeah. So does everyone else these days?
Yeah, cheers.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. I like the IPAs are my favorite.
I've never had I don't know what Sultana hops are.
We should Google it.
I don't know. That might be a rebranding of a different hop. I've never heard of Sultana though.
We're gonna find out right now. We're all gonna find out.
They're pretty popular. Mosaic's been around since I really got into it. So the funny thing, I don't know if you know about hops at all.
Not much.
So they're constantly making like new breeds and new strains. It's kind of like a weed, to an extent. They're very close relatives.
It looks pretty similar.
Yeah. So they make new strains, and they it's what's available and what gets grown. And then sometimes if a strain goes out of favor with the general populace, they'll rebrand it, maybe tweak it a little bit, rebrand it with a new name.
Interesting.
So sometimes that, or they find new ones. So you'll see like sometimes there's like hopped with like a HBC 840, like they don't have a name for it yet.
Right.
It's just like a test name. That's
It is. It's a type of hop.
Uh-huh.
A new single hop.
Is it from the what was it from? Is it from the New Zealand area? Northern Hemisphere.
It's heavy. I'm getting conflicting information here because it looks like there is a beer also called Sultana Gold. It looks maybe it tastes good, but it looks like it should be straight out of China.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it might be a lager.
Yeah, I mean, here's the label.
Oh, yeah.
So we will have to research that another day. Mm-hmm. Google failed us on that one. But this is good.
Yeah, I like it. No, again, I really do enjoy Vault. I've been out there a few times.
I like when IPAs, what I call, have a spice.
No,
that tingle.
There's
yeah.
Well, they're all spicy hops too.
Right. So that's what I'm tasting here. I don't know if that's what is really happening, but that tingle on
I
your
get that.
tongue.
It's like a lingering kind of kick to it.
Yeah, like the feeling you get when you eat something spicy.
Right. No, that's a common thing. Depends on the hop.
Okay, this one's 6.5%, which is pretty average
It's
for
a sweet
an
spot
IPA.
for an IPA.
Yeah.
I like between the 6.5% and 8.5%.
Sometimes
They get a little higher than sweet.
Flavor doesn't come across right for me with a lower ABV
Fair.
IPA.
Fair.
I usually lose that tingle that I'm talking about.
Right. Well, they're just made for different types of drinking too.
Right.
Those lower alcohols are made to they're usually called session beers. They kind of made to drink a lot of in one session as opposed to a couple.
Yeah. I think I have a picky palate.
Right.
But I will try anything. I think I've given up on trying stouts, so I can't do it. I know, but maybe in another 5 years, because your taste buds change every 7 years. So I don't know, but I think I've tried over 100,
right? Probably over 200,
and I just can't.
Even the barrel aged ones are just not. Or the barrel aged ones even worse.
Like the ones that taste like liquor.
Yeah, like the ones that are aged in barrel.
So those I like. If it doesn't, when it tastes like chocolate or peanut butter or coffee, I can't get behind it. It's too.
Okay.
It's just not. If I feel this is just my opinion, and for me, it's different with beer. I just can't. If I wanted a coffee, I'd go get a coffee. So so
it's funny. I don't drink coffee, but I love coffee.
And I'm not a big coffee drinker.
Right.
And then I think I also I'm not a big chocolate person. Right. So all those things I think play a factor there. But but my husband though.
I do too.
Between the two of us, if somebody ever gives us any kind of beer,
right.
Somebody will drink it.
Right. So, that's fair. Very fair.
I do like a good barley wine.
Which is interesting to me.
It is, right?
I love barley wine, but
I know, because I like that vengeful heart that Kane makes. When I was pregnant, they came out with it, and Jim went and bought me 4 bottles, and we've been holding on to them. I think we've gone through 2.
They'll hold up for years. I have a running vertical.
Yeah, and then they came out with new ones. Yep. After I got pregnant, so we have those 2.
Right.
And we drink those like we would drink wine with a beer or with dinner, so we save those for
it's more like a cordial too sometimes. Like after dinner, like dessert kind of
right. Yes. And I like to share those because but it depends on who I'm with, because it's not for everybody.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a very intense beer.
Right.
It has a lot. Comes at you like woo, takes you. That first sip gets me every time. I'm just like, I don't know if I like this, but then the second one is like, yes, you do.
Well, once you get past that booziness, you get into like caramel and coffee and all that.
That third taste, though, it's like, So,
and especially when you let it warm up a little bit, it gets a little less intense and more like a smooth, mellow, kind of slow burn kind of a beer.
Yeah, I really like. I'm a big firm believer on that 3-sip rule, because I've had stuff where I taste it right off the bat. Somebody says, try this. And I'm like, that's disgusting. And somebody says, try it again.
Right.
And I'm like, wait a minute. And then the third time, I'm like, oh, I like this. So I went from hating it to liking it in 3 sips.
In very early on in my whole journey through craft beer and visiting stuff, I visited Sam Adams, and they had a tasting guide, that kind of walks you through it. And they tell you have to drink 3 sips, because especially the first sip is kind of just like,
I think you were the one that told Jim about
it. It might have been.
And then I think I was either there or Jim told me. And we've been living by that ever since, because we just tried that rule, and we were like, that is.
Well, the first one, you were kind of like mixing everything that's already in your mouth, whether you were eating or drinking different beer or this or that.
You didn't have anything,
whatever you're
dry
doing.
Mouth, whatever.
Right. The second one kind of like cleanses your palate. The third one's kind of like truly what the beer is going to taste like.
Right. You really start to taste all the flavors. Yeah. It's interesting. I always. Sometimes people who don't know that rule, and they give me their beer to try, I'll take 3 sips, and they're like, whoa. I say, no, it's not what you think. I'm not taking your beer. I have to know if I really like it or not.
Yeah.
If you had to pick favorite style of beer, what would it be?
Probably like barrel aged stout.
Yeah.
Probably. I have I try most styles actually. I'm really kind of.
I know you like a lot.
Yeah.
But
no,
if you had to,
probably
if you
barrel
could only
stouts.
drink one type of beer for the rest of your life, that might be a different answer.
It might be, but I still think I would go with barrel aged stouts.
Yeah.
I'll just drink less of them.
Yeah. Because they're quite heavy, right?
Yeah.
And they usually tend to be a
And
high.
it's
age
right,
range.
but it's also you don't want to drink them in like a summer day,
No.
But no, yeah, I think that's probably my favorite style.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's talk. Oh, what's the coolest brewery you've ever been to?
Coolest brewery I've ever been to. I would say the best experience I've had in the
Yeah.
brewery was New Belgium in Colorado.
Yeah.
Me and Jimbo actually.
Yeah.
A very long time ago. I don't remember how many years ago that was. But yeah, it was a huge.
It was at least 8 to 10.
Huh?
For sure, 8 to 10 years ago, I'd say.
Yeah, probably. I mean,
Yeah.
no, probably around that. Yeah, I would say around that. It was just a super immersive and expansive experience. The brewery's huge. I don't know if I'm sure you've been there.
Yeah, we went a few years
Yeah,
ago.
it's massive. They've been around forever. It was really cool. It was like an hour and a half tour.
Yeah.
It was, you got to sample a bunch of beers on the way. You left there definitely drunk. Like, it's like you drank a lot while you were there. And it was just a really cool experience. It was really, they do things a little differently. I mean, this was also back in the day when most places weren't doing anything, so
Right.
they were very much on progressive on
They were on the forefront.
the green initiative
Mhm.
and recycling things and making sure things are like self-sustaining and all that. And a lot of places weren't even thinking about that, let alone doing it yet.
Yeah, because they have a lot. They encourage their employees to bike to work.
Right.
A lot of them.
Right, I'm sure. I mean, they're also. I mean, up until
I
very,
think they give their employees bicycles
that's
if
one
they'll
thing
bike to work.
It is. Up until very recently, they were also employee owned.
Yes.
Completely. I mean, they just sold.
They
recently,
did.
actually.
Yeah.
Some of those employees made some money.
Yeah.
But yeah, up until very recently, it was a very independent, employee-owned company.
Right.
Very surprised that they actually sold, but I guess it is what it is. But yeah.
Times are changing.
Right, but it was.
And they're grown too because now they have their plant in North Carolina, their brewery there.
Yeah, I haven't been out there yet.
I haven't. I want to go down.
Right.
I'm trying to find the time and
Right.
trying to decide if it's worth the fly or worth the drive.
Right.
With kids and everything, it might be a little bit easier to fly.
It's not going anywhere. You
I
can
know,
never
that's
get
true.
there.
So the first would be Fat Tire. Would be my
Right,
first
I know.
that I
I
ever
love
had.
that beer.
I love that beer, and
Yeah.
honestly, I wasn't really into craft beer, even though I was into Fat Tire.
Fair. That's a very accessible beer for non.
Yeah, and I lived in Colorado,
Right.
so it was everywhere.
Right.
And then it's a beautiful amber ale, and it's smooth.
I will say I used to like it a lot more than I do these days. I just think my palate's changed a lot.
I mean, there's a lot more variety now.
Right.
There's so much more out there, and Fat Tire was like that first stepping stone, I think.
I remember loving it.
It was one of those very first big small names out there.
Right.
And they have so many more beers now.
Oh yeah.
And they do all these limited, they're great.
Mhm.
But I used to, when I first moved here, you couldn't get it. Couldn't
Right.
get it here because they
No.
didn't have the ability to distribute it this far
Distribute,
out and meet the demand that it probably would have had.
Probably about 5 to 6 years ago they started doing
Yeah, whenever they opened and started manufacturing in North Carolina.
that. Gotcha.
Once that happened and they were able to produce and provide to the East Coast market. So I used to drive, but I could get it in Delaware and I could get it in Maryland. And I could get it
A lot
in
of states
PA.
have very different. Well, they also have very smaller markets.
But I couldn't get in New York, right? So New Jersey, I think, was that cutoff.
I don't think it's geographic at all.
I thought it really
It
was.
could have been state laws. It could have been distribution laws. It could
Yeah.
have been
Because I could get it down in Tennessee.
right.
I
but
could,
again, the craft beer market was probably much smaller in those states that you're
right. Well,
mentioning.
New Jersey is also much more populated.
Right. Exactly.
Right. And so that's what I was saying, is I don't think that they could handle the demand
Exactly.
if they distribute
if the
it
laws
here.
allowed it, I don't think
Right.
the demand is also
Between
not gonna
New Jersey and New York, there was just no way that they
Mhm.
could do it. So I would go down to Delaware or Maryland. I'd on a trip to visit somebody, and I would come back with 10,
Cases.
12 packs, because that's all they sold it in, is a 12-pack of bottles.
Yeah,
You couldn't get it in a can then. And I would bring it across state lines and have it stacked up in my condo.
Right.
It would last me, 6 to 8 months until I went back down again. I'd have to ration it for special occasions. But I don't think I got into craft beer until, probably like 4 or 5, maybe 4 years into living in New Jersey.
Okay.
It wasn't really something that, breweries and stuff are such a big, popular thing now. And
it was very different back then.
It was very different back then. I don't think it just wasn't like, it wasn't everywhere.
Right.
Like it is now. And I think once I started getting introduced to local places, also I was new to New Jersey, so I didn't know a lot of places. I didn't know a lot of people. So, but I can't even remember what my Kane might have even been my first brewery that I went to here.
First one.
Yeah. It's our favorite.
Yeah.
It's our favorite. We always have Kane in the fridge. Let's see. Any other questions? What we have watching? I know O is watching. Well, there's 2 other people out there being pretty quiet. You have any fun trips coming up? I know you just got back from your honeymoon, and you're probably like, probably when you first got back, you're like, all right, where are we going now? And then you're like, wait, it's COVID. And
all right, so we might. We have a bunch of weddings coming up, and of course, if you know anything about me at all, it's weddings. But
anything like
we might want to go sometime in September, maybe out just a weekend trip somewhere.
Like domestically?
No, not even.
Oh, okay.
Chicago, maybe Austin. Like.
Oh, that's what I mean. Like.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're not leaving the country.
Yeah.
But I think I'd like to try. I don't know. There's a few cities that we want to go to that we haven't been to. We're gonna burn some days.
Yeah.
And I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if I have days actually.
Right.
But maybe I would like to get out there. I mean, obviously, I'm always trying to travel, but don't have time off. It's expensive.
I know.
And,
it's really not that
right now. Yeah.
That's I think you should buy tickets.
Yeah.
Have it set, because you can reschedule. There's no change fees right now.
Right.
And that way you're locked into that low rate. Let me tell you, Jimmy's school closed down for 2 weeks a few weeks ago, and I was like, what am I going to do with this 3-year-old and this 5-month-old at home?
Yeah.
I'm going to pull my hair out. So I'm always, COVID or no COVID, I'm always looking at like prices to fly places, places where we have somewhere to stay for free, because then it's worth it. It's worth it to travel there financially. And Jim's cousin Dennis moved back down to Florida.
All right.
And he had mentioned that. He's like, if you guys ever want to come stay. And I was like, well, I don't know. And so I just like jokingly, but also serious, reached out and said, hey, you want visitors on Monday? This is like Friday.
Right.
Yeah. And I found flights, round trip for all 4 of us for $200.
Nice.
And I'm let's go.
Why not?
And so I came downstairs, and Jim's in probably an important meeting. It's always an important meeting. Yeah. And I said to him, I'm booking flights to Florida. We leave on Monday. He's like, what? He lost it. And long story short, we didn't go. And I didn't book flights. But I was like, well, you can just work while we're down there. He's like, well, why am I even coming? I was like, then you can hang out with us in the evening. And, and I was like, I'm such a spontaneous kind of a person. And I'm so itching to travel. Because with kids, it's hard. Then throw COVID in there, it's even harder. And I'm used to traveling all year round.
I'm well aware.
Yeah. And so is Jim.
Yeah.
So I'm just got the travel bug, We're going to Wisconsin in June, which is good. Off the grid situation there.
Yeah.
no internet, no cell phone service,
So fun.
no landline, no cable.
Hope we're bringing beer.
Oh, we will.
Bring
You
some
know,
good beer.
Wisconsin is founded by Germans.
Yeah.
They have great beer in Wisconsin,
All right.
and it's cheap.
Okay.
So,
All right.
well, I want to thank Sean for being on the show
Thanks for having me.
tonight.
It was
And so if you guys have any questions, you can check Sean out on Instagram at @Sean_Hanrahan, HANRAHAN.
Yeah.
And it's SEAN.
Correct.
The only way to spell it.
Correct.
And don't forget to check out our candles on craftbrewcandleco.com. We do custom orders as well. You can go on our website and see where you can find us live, in person, all summer long, and where you can find our unique and one-of-a-kind stuff in stores in the local Jersey Shore area. Thank you again, Sean.
Thank you.
And thanks everybody for tuning in. And we need to have a little bit more in here so we can cheers it out.
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.